Are you ready to step into the woman, the mother, the wife, the friend that will change the world?
Yes.
All right. There's a lot of confidence behind that. I believe you. Hey, what's happening, you guys? Welcome to the Proclivity podcast. We love what we do, and we love bringing it to you. And today is episode 141. What are we going to be talking about today, Emily?
We're talking about how to get lean and all about it.
How to get lean the Proclivity way. Mm-hmm. See, there's a difference, guys, because, man, Emily and I have been in the nutrition and fitness field for well over a decade. And we have seen every single different way on trying to get lean. What is lean? How do we get it? What are the things that we have done in the past that didn't really work? How do we create a sustained lean body? We're going to talk about all of those things today in episode 141. Yet before we get started, Emily has something to tell you. Emily, take it away.
We have a running workshop coming up on April 20th. Mark your calendars. If you want to learn how to run pain-free, if you want to learn how to run better, faster, more enjoyably. Is that a word?
Yeah. We made it up.
Perfect. April 20th, we're going to go take you through a 3-hour running workshop where it's super comprehensive. We will talk about fueling for cardio or running as well. So if you have any questions, reach out. We'll be putting on our social media, sending out emails. Let us know if you want to go.
Bang, talking about leanness. We'll talk about that today and the importance of aerobic training and strength training and what does it all look like. So let's dive in, guys. We're super happy to have you here today. Emily, let's first dive into being lean or leanness, right? This word tends to be thrown around specifically with women a little bit more than men. Not that men don't want to be lean. Just the word itself tends to be thrown around a lot with women. What does it mean to be lean?
To me, from what I've seen from a lot of, coaching a lot of people and just myself personally in general, is just looking a certain way, being toned, right? Having some muscular definition, but also not having a lot of body fat, right? Looking a certain way, certain body composition, fitting into certain clothes, looking good in a swimsuit, that kind of thing. And I think people's ideal leanness is different, right? Depending on the person. Some people like that more muscular look, some people don't. Some people like thicker legs, for example, or stronger arms, or a six pack abs, right? Like it's different for everyone's preferences, but in general, we're thinking, right, less body fat, a little bit more muscle.
Right. And it can be different in terms of, again, the word lean tends to be used a little bit more with women as men. It can be different between men and women when we're talking about fitting that stereotype of being lean. Men tend to want to put on more skeletal muscle mass, where women shy away a little bit from that lean. And so there's two different approaches that tend to happen with men and women when it comes to being lean. And that can actually be detrimental to both parties in terms of men and women. And we're going to dive into this a little bit here, is what is the typical approach that people take when it comes to getting lean?
Yeah. And even before we get into that, I want to mention that a lot of us look to be lean, but we also want to ask the question, like, what's actually healthy for me? One, there's a lot that goes into genetics. There's a lot that goes into your actual lifestyle. Like, what is reality? How much activity do you get in? Do you have kids? What season of life you're in? So what quote unquote leanness is actually realistic for you and what's healthy, right? It's normal and healthier for a woman to have more body fat percentage, for example. You need more body fat. That's how our bodies work hormonally. So if you get told or you have symptoms that show signs of hormone imbalance, that could be an issue, right? Not having enough body fat. And so we want to be realistic of what leanness is for us and what's sustainable and what we enjoy day to day. So we can get more into that, but I wanted to mention that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to the usual approach that we see time in and time out, we've experienced ourselves in the past. First and foremost, I get this question a lot. It's like, hey, how do I lose weight? Like, how much cardio should I be doing? Right? We tend to think like, oh, we just need to run more. We need to do more Peloton or spin rides. We need to
Mhm.
sweat a lot more. We need to kill ourselves in the gym. So that's the first and foremost thing that I hear about often. And I'm the nutrition coach, right? You'd think like, oh, what about food? That is a huge one. Like, oh, how do I eat in terms of getting more lean or losing weight? And what I see most
Mhm.
people doing is just restricting calories too. So cardio paired with restricting calories in general, and even for a lot of people, restricting fat, which goes back to the hormone health in my head. I'm like, oh
Mhm.
no, don't do that. Right? There
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
certain boundary, but in general, we still
Mhm.
need some fat in there. So those are
Yeah.
the two big ones.
And there is some science behind it, guys, in terms of we do need to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight. Like that is just how the body works. If you don't have, if you're burning more than you have, you're going to start going into your stores, and this is how we're going to start being able to burn some body fat. Yet there is ways to be able to do it that isn't these massive caloric restrictions,
Mm-hmm.
because as Emily is saying, there can be a big, huge impact on your hormones, particularly with women, that it is going to make it very difficult to say you lose that weight and then you start gaining the weight back when your body's starting to try to normalize once again,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll end up gaining more weight back.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think that you have to do this crazy, super hard, massive caloric restriction, and it becomes this teeter tottering, this sway back and forth. And each time it gets a little bit harder. And each time we tend to create a different story in our head that, oh my gosh, I fell off track again, or I need to get back on track. When that's not the case, we need to approach this in a different manner, in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're coming to you guys with today, is that if you've done it one way before and you found that you lost some weight, but that lasted a very short period, maybe you did 3 months of really intense exercise and caloric restriction and low fat to hold on to a month, maybe, of a body that you feel is the lean body, to then go back. This isn't the way to do it. Not only are we messing with our body, but we're also messing with our mind.
Mm-hmm.
We start creating a really wicked story about ourselves. Because remember, guys, whether you've heard this before on the podcast or not, mindset is the story we tell ourselves about ourselves. And so if we're telling ourselves we can't lose weight, or I'm, too addicted to carbs, or, oh, see, I'm getting fat again. Well, that's the story you're telling yourself. And that you're going to believe that story, and you're going to continue to wrap yourself around it. And this is where we start getting some really poor identities and really poor imposter syndromes. And then it makes losing weight even harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it leads to not doing the habits you actually want to do. It leads to the action steps, right?
Right.
Not being
Right.
able to do them sustainably, which also leads me to another approach of where people want to get lean these days is the medications, right? To decrease your hunger signaling. So, like
Mm-hmm.
one of the names, Ozempic, right? So many people I hear about are on it. And I see there being a benefit for a certain population that are like knocking on death's door kind of thing. Yet, for majority, from what I've heard of who's on it, people need to exhaust the root cause issues first, because the negative side effects of those medications are what we all just talked about. You're restricting calories. We're not actually looking at quality foods. You're gonna get nutrient depleted, which will lead
Mm-hmm.
you to illnesses, symptoms, sicknesses down the
Sure.
road. And the mental side, we're not actually fixing the thoughts going on in our head to take the action steps that we
Mm-hmm.
actually need to do. Right, we're just
That's right.
eating less, and it's really having an effect on our gut health. So there's lots of
Mm-hmm.
factors there and why we're not a huge fan for the majority of people.
Yes, yes. We want to come down to the root cause, guys. That's why we do what we do at Proclivity, is because if you truly do not believe the identity of living a lifestyle of health and happiness, then it's just you're going to feel like a fraud when you're doing these different um, diets and exercises. You're still going to think to yourself, oh no, I'm just going to go back to being that fat kid in the candy store.
Right.
And if we believe that, if that's the identity that we believe, we're going to go back to it every single time, because your mind is going to expand what you focus on. And so being able to take tangible, smaller steps to build the foundation to change your identity is the most essential part. And that's why in the Proclivity method, we keep things so simple, because simple and easy are not the same thing. And if we can get you to a point of going, hey, here are the simple things to do each day, not overwhelming, not crazy. And if you can have the patience to allow the identity to shift, and identity shift is not a speedboat. It's a tanker, right? It is a large ship that takes a while to turn around. But when you turn it around, you're pointed toward the true north. And then it's that much harder to turn it back around, say, to the habits that you had before. But it takes some time to be able to turn things around. So, Emily, when it comes to turn around, what's our prescription? What's our 3-step prescription? And when we mean steps, guys, this is kind of overall broad theme when it comes to getting lean the Proclivity way.
Yeah. So our recommendations that we talk about in the Proclivity method and in general, number one, stress management, right? That has a big umbrella over lots of things. But first and foremost, foundationally, are we sleeping well, right? Enough sleep, quality of sleep. Are we consistent? So that's first and foremost. And then we get into the mindset side of things. This is all the stuff that Joel coaches everyone on in the Proclivity method when it comes to our language, our mindset. Is our nervous system dysregulated throughout the day? Are we running around, go, 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 upregulated, causing our stress hormones to be wacky, which causes our body to not let go of fat, right? There's so many stressors in our environment, whether it be the lotion we put on or the fragrances at work. Maybe there's chemical exposure or just mold in your house, all these things. But first and foremost, foundationally, sleep and what are the thoughts or self-talk that we're doing.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit of metabolic flexibility, right?
That's number 2. So metabolic flexibility, being able to fuel your body right so you can go 5-6 hours without needing a meal, meaning your body can switch fuel sources easily without feeling hangry. It can switch from using glucose or carbs to fat, whether it be fat that you're eating, drinking, or fat that's stored in your body, which is what a lot of people want, right? And so if you're not metabolically flexible, you're going to feel hangry 2 hours after a meal. You're going to feel lightheaded or those any kind of low blood sugar like symptoms. You're going to notice, and you're going to feel the need to eat or have more cravings and get antsy when your body is running out of glucose stores. So again, in the Proclivity method, we teach all the habits that lead to better metabolic flexibility, such as the foundations of eating more protein, eating enough fat for you, figuring out what the ratios are, quality foods, hydration. All these things are the big players that feed into metabolic flexibility.
Okay. Number 3.
Number 3, strength training. Okay, so a lot of people, again, come to us like, oh, I just need to run more, right? I don't have time to do all that cardio. Well, good news, you don't have to do as much as you think. We are huge proponents of prioritizing strength training. Because guess what? In order to get that lean look that most people are looking after, you do have to have some muscle. Like that's required to get that look. Even if it's on the leaner side, right? Even smaller, more petite side, if you will, you still need muscle. And the more muscle mass you have, the better blood sugar handling you have, which affects our hormones. When you have better hormone balance, your body's able to lose fat easier and use it better. And when you have more muscle mass, you usually burn more calories at rest. So there's a ton of benefits to strength training. For me, it's an easier go to, so it doesn't require a ton of energy and time. You can do it very short, in 10 minutes a day, even. So, strength training, we always prioritize first. And we also love just a variety of movement in general. Can you do some walks? Can you get some cardio in? Because the variety is helpful. But if you're prioritizing, strength first and foremost.
Okay, so to recap, our top three uh, overarching guys is one, stress management, two, metabolic flexibility, and three, strength training. And we want to dive into each one of these here to really help you grasp onto this and why it's so important. So, Emily, I want to dive into stress management in itself. Um, when people think about stress, that we have stress throughout our days. It's part of being human, and we want stress. There are a lot of good stresses. Every time that you eat, that's a stress. When you exercise, that's a stress. Things that we think are like, oh, these are really helpful and beneficial things. There is a stress to the body. The body being out in the world itself
Yeah.
is under stress
Mm-hmm.
all the times. So I want to be able to link this because a lot of people think I just need to do more to get lean.
Mm-hmm.
Yet when I'm doing more and I'm not giving my body the ability to handle that stress or buffer that stress, it can actually have a reverse effect where, man, I'm working out so hard, right? Running a CrossFit affiliate for 6 years and seeing thousands of people, I would get this all the time. I'm coming to the gym 5 days a week and I'm still not losing weight. What's the impact of stress on our bodies? And how does that affect us when it comes to losing weight?
Oh man. So, and again, stress could be, I've seen it in lots of athletes before, of what doctors will call it, most of them will call it HPA, axis dysregulation, which is essentially you're too much. You're doing too much, not giving your body enough rest, enough calories, whatever that may be for you. But what it does is when our nervous system's like go, 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 dysregulated all the time, we're not giving ourselves enough rest or calories, like I said, it's going to have a cascade effect on our hormones, right? So the stress hormone cortisol is going to get spiked way more than it should be, right? We should be in a parasympathetic state around 90% of the day, right? So we want to make sure we're managing that correctly. But when we're too stressed, our cortisol is high. When our cortisol is high, it affects all of our other hormones and it starts prioritizing things in your body to go, oh, I need to survive today, right now. I'm not going to think about long-term health. So I'm going to essentially steal. There's a term called the pregnenolone steal, where it steals like your sex hormones to do other things. So then it thinks
Mm-hmm.
we're in a survival mode, and the priorities shift. It holds on to
Right.
fat, and it won't let go of fat for a while. So if we continually rep that out day in and day out, whether it be for a few weeks, months, or years, it's going to be that much harder to lose weight. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It makes a ton of sense. It makes a ton of sense. And this is why in so many uh, uh, in the gym or in the affiliate, uh, I would see this so often because we're doing high intensity workouts.
Mm-hmm.
High intensity, it's the same workout, dependent on programming, what affiliate you are, but it tends to be CrossFit is a higher intensity training regimen.
Mm-hmm.
And so, not a ton of zone two, not a ton of isolated or isometric core work like you would see in Pilates or bar, not a ton of stretching and somatic releases like you would see in yoga. And so, here we are hammering as hard as we can, trying to be in a caloric deficit, which is now affecting our hormones, not getting enough sleep, which is affecting our hormones, and our body's going like, dang, dude, we're under stress all the time. And let's just throw in that you're a mom or a dad and you're running around and you're saying yes to all these events for your kids and you're not doing anything for yourself, so you constantly feel drained
Mm-hmm.
by the end of the day, and you want to get back up at 4 o'clock to be able to lose that weight because you need to go hit that hard workout. This is the constant revolving door that people are in, and they get so frustrated because they work so hard and they feel so drained, yet they're not losing weight. And usually it's because they're looking at the scale and the scale's not saying anything. Maybe there's not changing in the pants or the shirts that they're wearing. And exact to your point, your body's going, oh, wait a second, Like, I'm under stress. Like, we got to hold on to this fat.
Mm-hmm.
What's going, we got to take this testosterone. And it's no surprise to me, guys, if you're listening, that most men are below 400 when it comes to testosterone levels. That is crushing you
Mm-hmm.
to being able to get to your results. And your cortisol levels are through the roof.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention, I want to put out there that when you see someone that's super lean or fit on Instagram, for example, guaranteed one of two things is happening. They're very committed and consistent with what they're doing. They're getting enough food. They're exercising every day. And they're getting lots of sleep, at least 8 to 10 hours, if not more. They're not drinking alcohol. I would be super surprised if I saw any high level athletes drinking. And they're really managing their stress otherwise. Like, it takes a lot of work to get to that like prime look. So in terms of like that figure you see on Instagram, and if they're not doing that, then they're gonna lose steam, and they are gonna get what's called HPA axis dysregulation, or amenorrhea in a lot of women, hormone imbalance. Their insides aren't looking as good as you think they are. So just want to throw that out there. Like, sometimes it's a bit unrealistic, and we don't consider what they're doing on the side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, guys, then what are our strategies? And I want to walk you through this, and Emily's going to throw her 2 cents in here too as well. Uh, Time organization is one of the things that I really focus on, because our two greatest resources, guys, are time and money. And actually, majority of people are really poor at managing both. Most people I work with, if I say, cool, show me your budget, they'll share me your screen. What system do you use to manage your budget? And people are going to go, okay, so you're not managing your money. So you feel like you need to make more money. So then you feel like you need to work more. You work so much that you're looking for a dopamine hit and a release. I just want to relax. So you might end up going and like, I deserve to have that car. I deserve to get that house. I deserve to take that vacation. But you actually don't know if you have enough money to take that vacation, to buy that new car, to be able to purchase those new clothes. You then do that and you find yourself in debt. Oh, shoot, I need to work more. And round we go, because we're actually not managing our money in and out. Well, this is the same thing when it comes to our time. If I said to you, cool, pull up your calendar, show me exactly your time. Let's analyze your time as if it is money. Most people wouldn't be able to show me their calendar. And I mean, what are you doing for yourself personally? When it comes to work, not just work, but what type of work are you doing throughout the day to be able to be effective? When it comes to your kids and it comes to everything else, how much time are you actually investing into your kids compared to yourself? Most people, again, I would say maybe 2% or 3% of the people that I work with or we work with actually have a calendar that they can show me, hey, here are my hours that I've invested in this past week, this past month, this past year. Because if I don't know my time, once again, just like money, I might end up like, I'm so exhausted. I'm not getting things done. Why am I not getting things done? Oh, I'm actually not scheduling that. And so being able to manage your time, and we could dive in and we're going to get into a whole nother podcast on how to be able to manage your time. But your two greatest assets when it comes to time management, you guys, is know and help. Is know and help. It's saying no to multiple events in the same day. It's saying no to having dinners outside of on the weekday outside of Thursdays or one particular day. These are some of the boundaries that I've put in for myself, and it's helped me tremendously. And then also help. Being able to ask for help and say, I need help, and that's it. Not beat around the bush, not hope that your husband or wife are going to magically see you struggling and are inside your brain and know that you need help. It's you being able to lay down your ego and say, I need help. Friends, family, your kids, I need help. This is the number one step that I push to people to start managing your time so you can start creating space. Because when you have space, then what can you do? You can start down regulating. When you start down regulating, you start managing those different hormones. If you're in a down regulated state, your body will start releasing that fat. But if you are in an up regulated state, good luck. Go ahead, burn the candle at both ends and see what happens. It ain't going to work too well. The other thing is sleep. And Emily, what is our suggestion when it comes to sleep?
Schedule in 8 hours in bed trying to sleep and stay consistent as you can, right? Start somewhere, build up to it. Take a few days, a few weeks, a few months to build up to it and what you can do, right? But a consistent bedtime is going to be the best place to start. So if you want to get up at 6 a.m., count 8 hours backwards. That's your in bed time. Okay, cool. Set an alarm an hour before that to start winding down to get things in order. So your nervous system's getting down regulated. You're turning the lights down. We have all sorts of tips and tricks on how to prepare for sleep. Yet start with a consistent bedtime and scheduling in those 8 hours for yourself.
Sleep is the elixir of life, guys. If you aren't sleeping, the massive health effects that are going to happen are numerous. All you have to do is read the book Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker, and you will see stunning statistics. I mean, stunning statistics. You don't sleep, say goodbye to your testosterone. You don't sleep, watch your cortisol levels jump through the roof. You don't sleep, watch you increase your caloric intake. Was it 400 calories?
300 or 400 because your blood sugar's off. You're considered pre-diabetic after a night of 6 hours or less of sleep.
Pre-diabetic, you guys. So this is what's happening when we're thinking like, I got to hit that 5 a.m. No, you don't. Actually, Emily and I have proved this by doing 30-minute dumbbell workouts and prioritizing our sleep and our down regulation. And people look at us and go, wow, Joel and Emily, you're so lean, you're so strong. And we're like, yeah, we're doing 30-minute workouts.
Or less.
Or less. And there are times that we do longer workouts. That's true. Yet our majority of our workouts are 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the strength component. Mm-hmm. And then the last part, guys, is our language. Maybe think, whoa, how does our language change the way that I lose weight or become lean? Your words affect you, whether you're recognizing it or not. When your husband or wife says something to you that you don't necessarily like, you may get a physical reaction. You might get a tense in your stomach or a tightness in your chest or your throat tightening. Your body is physically responding to words that are said to you. And that's the same to the words that you say to yourself. The thing that I want you guys to think about is the word busy. We tend to throw around busy all the time. Yet every time I've asked somebody, hey, if you had to classify busy as a feeling of tightness or lightness, which one do you classify? I'm 100 for 100 that people say tight. Yet we tend to throw around that word all the time. Hey, Emily, how you doing?
Busy.
And over again, we say it each day. See, you have a part of your mind called the reticular activating system that's going to bring focus to those words. That word creates tension. You say it all the time. Your mind goes, okay, we got to find busy. It's just how your brain works, guys. And so it starts expanding and finding busy. No, we got to stay busy. We got to stay busy. And then we get to a point where we can't sit still. We got to do all the things all the time. And it actually becomes really uncomfortable for you to sit and eat, doing nothing else. Most people that we prescribe 20 minutes to eat a meal feel like their skin is crawling. If we tell somebody, take a 45-minute walk by yourself, no kids, no dogs, no headphones, no telephone, no cell phone, people lose their mind because we're so used to saying, I'm busy, everything's stressed, upregulated, hormones, got to move more, got to do more. And we wonder why we can't lose weight. And so be careful in the words that you use. because they drastically have an impact on how you feel. Any other things to point out on stress management, Emily?
Well, just a reminder that when we are less stressed or we're more parasympathetic, that calm, rest, and digest state, we're digesting food better. So we're getting more bang for our buck when it comes to the food we eat and calories. Our blood sugar is going to be more balanced. So when we're super stressed and tense, our cortisol spikes. But you know what else happens? Our blood sugar corresponds to that and will spike as well, which not only causes hormone issues if we're not addressing it, but also increase of cravings, right? So then we will eat more, or we'll at least feel like we want to eat more, have those cravings or hunger or hangriness. And so
Mm-hmm.
when we can manage our stress more in terms of our nervous system, at least to start with, right, with sleep, with what Joel just got done explaining, we will increase our metabolic health, which will make it easier to lose unwanted weight.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of metabolic health, the next step is metabolic flexibility. This is something that we teach in the Proclivity method. We focus on this. Emily, start off with this. What are some tips and tools to be able to start getting to metabolic flexibility?
Yeah, first and foremost is actually sleep because of what we mentioned before. And if you don't get enough sleep, your body is set up for hardship in the day with blood sugar, as one example, right? We're going to have lower blood sugar, higher blood sugar. Both are not good. We don't want those giant swings. Most people just talk about the high blood sugar, but the low is just as detrimental. And so, if we can get quality sleep, our blood sugar, first and foremost, is set up for success. Number two, hydration. These are foundational. You might be like, duh, I know that. But we really want to get consistent with it. We want to nail the foundation down because with better hydration, we are getting the electrolytes that help us move further into the day without needing to eat all the time. It does suppress cravings a little bit. It also helps us work out more. We have more endurance.
Mm-hmm.
And staying hydrated, again, helps with our blood sugar balance, which is, again, the trigger for wanting to eat more. So,
Yep.
sleep, hydration. And then if I had to pick one more, it's like the top 3 tips, it would be eating enough protein. And like a wing of that would be fat as well, right? Because those are the most satiating nutrients for most people, especially protein. And most of us are under eating it, right? So protein's going to build that muscle. It's going to help you repair tissue when you do work out. And it's going to be the one macronutrient that's least likely to be stored as fat. So we
Mm-hmm.
want to be making sure we're eating enough protein.
And you guys, like, we handed that over to you. That is as simple as it sounds. If you are a female and you get 90 grams of protein, a male and 120 grams of protein every single day, which you may think like, oh, that's not too much. Go ahead and track it. You'll find like, oh, whoa,
And that's our bare
I'm not
minimum.
eating. Yeah, and that's bare minimum. I'm not even close to that. I'm not even close to that. But if you start eating protein, start drinking enough water with electrolytes, we suggest Element. You can pick whatever electrolytes that you want. We're a big supporter of Element. Those 2 things alone, along with getting sleep, so you're not stress eating, we watch people get lean real freaking quick here. And one of the things that people will start recognizing is that initially they would have hunger cravings maybe every 2 hours throughout the day. They're going to want a snack and so on and so forth. But by increasing protein, increasing hydration, being able to add a little bit more fat, they find is like, oh, wait a second, it's 6 hours later and I don't need to eat, or I'm just now getting hungry. And so I'm going to have another meal where I'm going to have anywhere from 30 to 60 grams of protein, and I'm going to feel really full again. And I'm going to continue to drink my water with Element throughout the day. And I'm going to find like, whoa, maybe I ate twice today. Or maybe it was 2.5 times, but it's not nearly as much as what I was doing before. And what this does is it starts showing your body, wait a second, we don't need all of those packaged foods or carbohydrates. I actually have plenty enough fat that I can tap into. And the more that we can tap into that fat and the faster that we can be at it, this is that flexibility part where it's not this like real slug process of your body be like, oh, we don't have carbs. Oh gosh, now we'll start producing ketones that will create carbohydrates for our brain or our body. we can get to a point where we can run a 50K off fats and proteins alone and do it efficiently. And so metabolic flexibility is ideal to support fat loss and muscle gain because we're increasing the protein, which will create muscle protein synthesis. It will also eat less processed foods, so less calories throughout the day. Because is there a good comparison, Emily, of like what we think isn't a lot of calories and what is a lot of calories in terms of like a whole food in terms of proteins compared to like a packaged food?
Um, I'm not quite sure what you're asking, but
No worries. You want me to dive in?
Yes.
Thinking of it in terms of a packaged food of like, hey, these chips. So you're looking at these chips and you're like, oh, okay, let me put a handful, a cup or 2 cups in my hands of chips. And we start looking at actually the chips itself or maybe bread. And what we start realizing is like, oh, wait, we're at 3, 4, 5, 600 calories. And it really isn't taking up a ton of space. It's not dense like protein would be. And in comparison, if I did a cup or 2 cups of ground turkey, ground beef, steak, that's actually less calories, more dense, takes more energy for your body to be able to process that protein than it is to burn through some chips, some processed foods.
Yeah, I think of it in terms of nutrient density. So if you're eating chips versus turkey or some kind of protein, you're going to go through those chips. Your body's going to use them up, and then store the excess carbs that you're not using. And then the protein, it's going to have so many more nutrients in it. It's going to satiate you more, and it's not going to cause a blood sugar spike. So that's the lens I look at through. I'm like, one, what it's doing on our blood sugar. Two, what is the nutrient density on it? Because that's going to satiate us and make us feel our best, have good energy, all the good things in our body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, all in all, guys, when it comes to metabolic flexibility, this is really what we're looking to achieve. It is simple, yet not easy. It's being able to start allowing ourselves to move into better hydration, better sleep, higher amounts of protein. You do those things and then sprinkle in whole foods. Okay, every meal I'm going to have one vegetable. Every meal I'm going to have one fruit. Do that. I dare you. I freaking dare you. For 30 days, every single meal, I want you to have 2 element packets a day, minimum. I want you to drink half your body weight in fluid ounces of water. I want you to hit 120 grams of protein every day. I want you to add one vegetable and or one fruit to every meal. Do that for 30 days. You don't even have to go do crazy amounts of strength training. Do that for 30 days. I mean, every day, just like that. What do you think the change would be, Emily? You think somebody would have a change in 30 days?
Oh yeah, you're going to see a difference in how you look in the mirror. You're going to feel difference in terms of your energy. Your pants are probably going to feel differently depending on where you're starting at. But yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I've done it many times, guys. I went from, check this out, fasting one time a day, eating one time a day, to turning around and increasing my protein, and I lost weight, increasing my protein. I was eating one time a day. I turned around, started eating 2 to 3 times a day and adding in protein. I lost weight. So, guys, this works.
You lost body fat and kept muscle, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Were you saying that I look jacked?
Yes.
Thank you. That's an inside joke, guys. Emily's really good at giving compliments. Let's move into strength training, the last piece and the last part. When it comes to the last part and being able to get lean, strength training is the baseline of those 30-minute workouts that we talk about doing. It's not a super high intensity workout. It's actually, hey, how much weight or how many reps or what's the tempo? How much stress can I put on my muscles less than my aerobic capacity? So let's dive into that. What's the importance of strength training or resistance training when it comes to being lean?
Well, again, that's you're building muscle, right? So we pair that with, so whenever we think strength training, we want to, I mean, it could be any level for anyone. It could just be body weight squats or push-ups, right? Or it could be a back squat or front squat or bench press or pull-ups with weight, right? It could be, there's a range there, but strength training is going to build your muscle, which gives you that lean look. So long as you're getting enough protein and sleep, those are the two components that go along with it. But yeah, that's the foundation of, again, that lean look, building muscle.
That's right. Because when we think about lean, people think less. They think lean is less, when lean is actually more. When you have more muscle, you have more definition. When you have more definition, more muscle, you're burning more fat. Your metabolic rate is going to be higher. So the idea is that, hey, I want to build muscle and decrease body fat. And the number one way to increase muscle and decrease body fat is to eat more protein.
Yeah, it's a little counterintuitive. I get that. But as Joel said, he literally did a perfect experiment, and this happens so many times with our clients. Add more protein in. He actually probably added calories in, but
Mm-hmm.
the difference that it does has an effect in your body. It makes a big change in your body composition, right? So he gained, perhaps even gained muscle, if not kept it all, and then lost some fat.
So we know the importance of strength training, and y'all, if you're not strength training, well, let's ask this, Emily. How many days out of the week are you doing strength training compared to um, long cardio?
Yeah, 80 to 90% of my days is strength based.
I would agree as well. I would agree as well. I will tell you guys my exact exercise regimen: Monday, strength training; Tuesday, short, high intensity run; Wednesday, strength training; Thursday, strength training plus high intensity workout; Friday, strength training; Saturday, long, slow, zone 2 exercise; Sunday, either some type of strength training, body weight movement, play, whatever the case is, enough for my body to recover, and then I'm back at it again. Strength training, strength training, strength training, strength training. It is essential. And let's talk about other variations when it comes to strength training or movement. Why should we be mixing in our movement patterns?
Well, the way I think about it, if we're just doing back squats every day, okay, cool. We're going to get some strong glutes and quads and hamstrings and core, but it's just working one thing, right? So we want to be able to go from strength training, lower heart rate, to zone 2, still lower heart rate, but cardio and doing it longer, to high intensity, like you mentioned. The variation works different systems in our body to
Mm-hmm.
work different systems in our body to help our body grow muscle and cardiovascularly improve all the systems there.
Yep. Yep. So there's the 1, 2, 3, guys. Now the question is how do we incorporate all three? How do we incorporate all three? And so we're going to paint, and Emily, feel free to add in here. We're going to paint a picture. Again, if I said, hey, for 30 days, do this and see what happens, we're going to paint a picture of what would be ideal. So let's first address stress management. When it comes to stress management, being able to get 8 hours in bed. So for the next 30 days, 8 hours in bed, number one priority. Not strength training, not hitting your 5 a.m. Number one priority is getting 8 hours in bed. That would be step number one. And you would do that exactly how Emily said. What time are you going to wake up? Reverse it back. If you can't get to bed at that time, then you need to push your morning a little bit more. Does that mean that now you're not hitting the high intensity CrossFit workout at 5 a.m. and you're going to have to do something at home? Great. We have a 30-day dumbbell program. Reach out to us. We'll give it to you. We've seen incredible results time and time again. So being able to sleep. The second thing is I want you to take, you can track this, and whether at your desk or at home, But I want you to, for 30 days, I want you to have 2 glasses. One glass on the left is going to be empty. The other glass on the right is going to have 30 pennies, 30 marbles, 30
Paper clips.
paper clips, doesn't matter. And every day, I want you to be able to say no or help. And you're able to take one of those and put it into the other. And I want you to, by being able to do this, this helps to manage your time. So for 30 days, you just take one over, and you have to be able to, at one point in your day, say no or ask for help. Cool. And then you can move one over.
And no could be, no, I'm not going to get on my Instagram. No could be like, no, I'm not going to that dinner. Could be, there's a big range there.
Huge range. And then here's the other part in terms of language that I want you to work. I want you to get rid of have tos and need tos for an entire month. Instead of I have to work out, I need to go to the grocery store, I need to food prep, I get to food prep, I get to go to the grocery store. Eliminate have tos and need tos. This is called pressure language. And allow yourself to get to do these things and start seeing how that feels, that you do have the opportunity to get to go to the store, and see how this starts lowering your stress. Second part is the metabolic flexibility. And Emily, what are the things that they would do for metabolic flexibility?
Well, you already named the sleep, hydration with electrolytes, right? So half your body weight in ounces, plus one, at least one serving of the electrolytes, and protein, right? Can we get at least 90 grams if you're a female, 120 grams if you're a guy each day minimum?
And then the last part is strength training, guys. You just give it a go. If you guys need the 30-day dumbbell program, reach out to us. We'll give you the 30-day dumbbell program. And now you can incorporate everything that we just taught you. The protein, the hydration, the sleep, the words, the time management, and then the strength program. And you'll see throughout it, it's 5 to 6 days a week. And it's not going to take a ton of time. And all you need is 2 dumbbells. And you'll start finding out like, whoa, this is working. And because it doesn't take a ton of time, and because you're getting more sleep, you'll realize like, wait, I can keep going. So now it's not this, I have to climb up this hill to try to get leanness. It's just a steady path. And so we dare you to take the challenge. Just give it a shot.
It's a little
See
mini,
what happens in 30 days.
Little mini proclivity method there for you.
A little mini proclivity method. So Emily, anything else to be able to wrap this up when it comes to leanness?
Man, I mean, I think expectations is important to consider. Like I mentioned in the very beginning, what's realistic for my body and in time, right? Things like the medications we talked about, things like the 30-day challenges that cut calories so significantly where you do lose weight fast. But is that sustainable, right? So in this process, what we just laid out, it will take a little bit more time than those things, right? So trust in the process and know that in time, this is the way better route when it comes to sustainability, feeling better, and looking better long term.
There it is, you guys. If you're curious on learning more, reach out to us. www.proclivity.co. You can book a call with Emily and then with me. If you guys really want to double down and make the change, start off with this 30 days, what we just gave you. We dare you. We dare you. And see what happens. And then imagine if you did 3 months guided by 2 world-class coaches. What could happen there? What if? So we're here to be able to support you guys. Remember, if you want to learn more about metabolic flexibility when it comes to aerobic training, we are doing our running seminar. It's going to be on April 20th. It's going to be a ton of fun. Anything else, Emma?
No, that's it.
Cool. Then you guys, thank you for showing up once again. Episode 141 in the books. Looking forward to seeing you next week. And until then,
best day ever.
Best day ever. Emily, I got a question for you.
Hopefully I have an answer for you.
Can you tell me what Casey's love language is?
Yeah. Acts of service.
Do you know what number 2 is?
What are the 4
That's
categories
the
again?
tough question.
I believe I do, but remind me. There's
Acts of
physical.
service, physical touch, quality of time, uh, words of affirmations, and receiving gifts.
I think it's physical touch. Shoot, I don't know for sure.
It's hard. What's yours?
I don't agree with it, but my first one is apparently physical touch, acts of
Uh-huh.
service, quality
Mhm.
time, and then gifts. Is that right? You have it in front of you.
No,
Oh, dang
yours
it.
is physical touch, quality time, acts of service,
Oh,
words of affirmation, receiving
oh, I
gifts.
missed one. Dang. But to be honest, I like them all.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, I feel like I like them all equally, other than the gifts. I will say gifts are at the bottom.
Yeah, gifts are at the bottom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, there you go. There you go, guys.
Look into my personal life.
Mm-hmm. A little look-ski.
What's your top one? I think I believe I
Uh,
know this, but
do you know it?
acts of service.
Acts of service, physical touch, quality time. Oh, quality time and words of affirmation are dang near tied. And then nothing on gifts.
Mm-hmm.
They're all like 23%,
Mm-hmm.
like across the board. Like one could switch to the others. Yeah, yours is 29, 26, 23, 16.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. There you go, guys. Now you know a little bit more about us. If you know your love languages, put it in a review. Maybe you don't want to put your personal stuff on the review. Just give us a review. Thanks for stopping by.